Hello, everyone. I'm Connell McGill, the co-founder and CEO of Enertiv. We're a real estate technology company focused on transforming building data into asset value. Today, there's over $1 trillion of untapped asset value potential because most commercial real estate companies are relying on manual, paper-based processes, wasting about 19 cents for every dollar spent on building operations. Over the years at Enertiv, we've been fortunate enough to work with many of the most sophisticated operators in the real estate industry and have found that even in the best case scenario, they rely on 6 or 7 different siloed systems to manage their day-to-day operations. If it wasn't obvious before, the coronavirus has made it abundantly clear that critical information has to be accessible anywhere, anytime, and from any device. While at Enertiv, we've always believed this digital transformation would happen and a unifying platform would be necessary, COVID-19 has increased the pace of this shift dramatically. That said, even when the pandemic is finally behind us, the industry will not return to manual processes. Once they take their first steps towards digital transformation, and they realize the time, cost, and tenant experience benefits, there's going to be no turning back. That unifying platform for building operations is Enertiv. We start with the Enertiv app. This is the spearhead for digital transformation. Entire portfolios can be brought on immediately to make their static documentation accessible from anywhere and to streamline daily workflows. Next, we power up the Enertiv app with data derived from existing systems, such as the building management system, the accounting software, and the maintenance system. Then, to make sure that we have absolutely everything covered, we have a decade of experience designing, sourcing, and installing affordable sensor networks. On top of this foundation of data sits a suite of apps to streamline things like maintenance and repair, to manage vendors, to automate tenant billing, to track indoor environment, and to prove energy efficiency, which have been shown to increase asset value by around $10 per square foot across the customers connected to the Enertiv cloud. All of this data, the static information, the sensor data, the workflow information, it feeds into a central repository. Now at 9 billion hours of data, where Enertiv applies machine learning and the industry's largest library of best practices to deliver real-time and predictive insights tailored to each stakeholder in a real estate organization. Now, in addition to the direct OpEx reductions from these insights, there's also a tremendous value in having one system to answer a countless number of questions, like how have implemented COVID-19 ventilation guidelines affected indoor air quality? Or what's my real-time occupancy and social distancing score in my common areas? Or which engineers are keeping costs down most effectively? So let me show you the Enertiv app in action. Say you manage multiple properties, but you're working from home due to COVID-19. You get a notification on your phone that a pump has gone down in one of your buildings. Thanks to the Enertiv app, all the information is right at your fingertips, including a lightweight digital twin enabling you to take a virtual step into the mechanical room. You need more information, so you pull up the maintenance history to see the last time it was serviced and by whom. Next, you know you're going to have to order parts, so you check the parts list for this pump to get the bids out immediately. And if you're in the building, you can scan the QR code placed on the pump to pull up the same information. In this case, you need to get working on troubleshooting immediately, so you pull up the maintenance video. Then you simply follow the instructions in the Enertiv app to begin troubleshooting. Finally, all of this information flows into executive-level dashboards that provide owners and asset managers with unprecedented transparency into major cost drivers. All these KPIs are combined into a building health score that provides comps within the portfolio and across the entire commercial real estate industry. As real estate technology has matured, the industry is realizing that it can't spend years piloting dozens of point solutions. What's needed are easy to deploy and infinitely scalable platforms. Enertiv is that for building operations. That's why the commercial real estate industry runs on Enertiv. Thanks for your time today. I wish I could have met everyone in person. I would really love to be in Cannes right now. I hope someday soon to host you at either our New York or French headquarters. And thanks again, opening it up for questions.
Excellent, Connell. Thank you very much. Angie, first question from the jury.
Yes. Hi, Connell. Nice to see you. I have a question. So, I mean, this is great. Great presentation and a great idea. My question is, how do you deploy it granularly? So you are the platform that ends all platforms. You're the the one-stop shop for everything. But on a granular basis, building by building, how do you deploy this? How do you get the data that you need to manage everything? So how does everything end up on your platform?
Sure, it's a great question, Angie. I'll just mention we have over 300 buildings on the Enertiv platform today, and about 25 that just came in the door in the last 2 weeks. The way that we introduce our technology, as mentioned on my platform slide, is we start super light. You can download the Enertiv app from the App Store or the Google Play Store, and based on the needs of the asset, you can take advantage of different power-ups that we offer. We have 4 categories of power-ups: software integration, which I mentioned, that's the BMS, the CMMS, the EMS, the list goes on. We work with the existing data sets in the building. Those are plug and play, and we can turn them on overnight. The next category of integration is hardware integration. So we can connect to the utility meters, existing devices in the building, like sensor networks. And then the last 2 are actually require the deployment of physical devices, which we've been doing now for over a decade. That's equipment monitoring, getting down to the most critical infrastructure to track real-time performance. And that's where our analytics engine kicks in to predict and detect failures. And then lastly, we have over 25 available wireless sensor power-ups to track the environment. So everything from people counting to temperature, humidity, air quality tracking for COVID-19 to look at particulates. The list goes on and on and on. So we've developed a national installer network. We have over 250 partners that we've built over the last 3 or 4 years. Most of the processes internally at Enertiv are fully automated, leveraging the Zoho platform. We close a deal, RFPs automatically go out to the network. We identify the best installer that's pre-vetted and pre-trained. We bring the lowest price point to the customer. But the nice thing is you don't have to wait for these sensors. You don't have to wait for the integrations. You can download the Enertiv app and start in days with your digital transformation journey.
Thanks, Connell. Okay, Ginny.
Hey, Connell, good to see you. So one question I have is that it can be a huge pain selling into real estate property teams, as you know, and I think historically there have been many barriers to entry when it comes to adopting things that have a hardware component to them as well. I'm curious how you think that is going to change over the next couple of years, or how you've seen it change over the past year, and what you think will start to eradicate those barriers to entry.
Yeah, Ginny, so it's a great point, and it's something that I've banged my head against the wall on for years, and that's why we flipped our business model in the last 6 months. So we start software only, mobile first, super light. We keep it simple. We add immediate value to on-site teams and executives at the portfolio level. Then, based on the needs of the asset and the budgets and sort of the readiness of the portfolio, we power up this experience over time. So again, it starts super light, super scalable software, and then the sky is the limit. And so we've been going on many very exciting journeys with now our 70 plus portfolios that are connected to the Enertiv platform. Yeah.
Thanks, Connell. Appreciate that brevity there. Jonathan.
Thanks, Aaron. Aaron, I hope you don't mind a little bit of controversy as well here.
Yeah, let's go.
Connell,
and by the way, Jonathan, I must say that Connell's a portfolio company of MetaProps. So please give him hell.
Let's go.
So what I understand is that in the buildings, Johnson Controls, many of the lift companies, they make about 80% of their revenue from service contracts. And are you facing a lot of resistance from them in sharing information? Because obviously every building should have something like this in them, but that data that they're creating, in many cases, what I understand is that they're not sharing it as openly as they should.
Jonathan, thank you for teeing that one up for me. The problem is they don't know what to do with that data. So their focus is on clunky hardware first control solutions, and data is very much an afterthought. The real estate, sorry, I have like some weird sun coming in here. The real estate industry is getting tired of working with these companies. They're just tired of being locked into their platforms and having a guy parked out front with a van providing these services. So in almost all cases, especially with our larger portfolios, all it requires is a phone call, and those backnet protocol or Modbus protocol based systems are exposed to us. It's the direction the whole industry is moving in, and those are definitely likely acquirers for a platform such as Enertiv down the road, where we've started with data and software in mind, and hardware is simply a means to an end.
Great, thank you.
Dan?
Connell, great presentation again. Thank you very much. I've got loads of questions about data, but I'm actually going to talk about money if I can. So the setup costs so the return on investment looks brilliant. I get all that, and it's designed to be the future of how all buildings should be managed. So it's fantastic. To really get the benefit out of that, and you've explained a little bit to Angie about how you can do it incrementally, but that's still quite a large setup cost up front. And
Absolutely not.
Building owners are not always that good at investing something without understanding the return on investment. So the question is, firstly, why am I wrong that there's no upfront cost to get all of those different things integrated? And secondly, how do you demonstrate the value of that over a long term to investors or owners?
Well, Dan, great questions, and the questions are rooted in how the industry has always worked. What I'll tell you is that our solutions start as low as a penny per foot per year in annual subscription costs. We offer two models. There's a CapEx model where you can, if you are adopting hardware, pay for the devices and the install one time, and then pay a slightly lower software subscription. But about 75% of our connected accounts have opted for our software subscription only model, where we amortize the cost of the hardware over time on a minimum contract of 3 years. So setup costs are not high at all. Our app is charged based on a building license, and then power-ups are offered as subscription only or CapEx, just to reiterate. And over the 3.5 years that we've been active in the commercial real estate industry, we've never turned a customer. We've never seen an ROI that's greater than 18 months. And about 75% of our connected accounts are in expansion mode, some of which have as many as 100 assets connected today.
Jorn, final question for Connell.
Yeah, maybe one thing. We are all in one room now, and you can treat this confidential. So what is the information the most difficult to get? Again, who's reluctant to give you the information? What field?
What information is the most challenging to get? I think the information is fairly accessible. I mean, the integration. Okay, good question. Let me take a step back. You know, some of the first generation prop tech companies in the traditional computerized maintenance management space, or the traditional ERP systems, many of which have been around for 10 or 20 years, they don't love the idea of sharing their data. Some of them have licensing fees in order to access their API, which are $20,000 a year, but that's fine. I mean, in aggregate, that's a relatively low cost given the value that can be extracted by repurposing that data to drive optimized performance in these portfolios. So I'd say, like, from a technological perspective, those integrations are very straightforward, but you know, the next wave is coming in, and some of the players have chosen not to play nicely with innovative technologies like Enertiv, but we're not going to let them stop us.
Thank you. Perfect answer. Thanks.
All right, Connell. Well done. Under pressure on the hot seat.